Every day, organizations are hit by thousands of software vulnerabilities, creating a massive pipeline of threat logs that security teams must triage. The bottleneck in processing this data is the format. These threat logs and vulnerability reports are written in unstructured, human-readable text rather than neatly categorized data points. This word cloud, generated from a Cisco dataset of nearly 70,000 vulnerability descriptions, shows the scale of the challenge. We are looking at highly specific, technical vocabulary dominating the landscape. Older techniques for sorting this text, like latent Dirichlet allocation, struggle here. They parse the data too broadly, failing to accurately group this dense technical jargon into usable categories. To accurately group these logs, we need a modern natural language processing pipeline, one that combines the contextual understanding of large language models with density-based clustering algorithms. Automating this text parsing bottleneck provides a scalable path to convert thousands of chaotic logs into a structured, prioritized threat taxonomy, reducing the manual burden on security analysts. BERTopic approaches this problem through a multi-stage pipeline designed to build clusters from raw text. First, the text data flows into stacked embeddings, utilizing models like Roberta and Glove. This embedding stage takes the raw text and translates it into coordinate data. By mapping out these points, the system captures both the contextual meaning of a sentence and the word-level definition of technical terms. Next, an algorithm called UMAP condenses this data. It reduces the high-dimensional coordinate cloud into a lower-dimensional space so that downstream algorithms can process it efficiently. Finally, the HDBSCAN algorithm steps in to scan this flattened plane. It identifies areas of high data density, drawing boundaries around tightly grouped coordinates while treating the scattered, sparse points as noise. When we apply this sequence to the 69,000-entry Cisco vulnerability dataset, the results map closely to actual software architectures. This hierarchical clustering dendrogram shows how the pipeline evaluates the data. On the left side, we can see closely related technical themes merging early in the grouping process, well before broader categories are formed. These early merging topics correspond to specific systemic vulnerabilities. The branches clearly identify distinct clusters for CentOS updates and Red Hat Linux bugs. This is a similarity matrix, providing the mathematical proof used to verify these thematic overlaps across the dataset. The strong diagonal line across this graph represents each topic perfectly matching itself. But if we look at the off-diagonal dark blue squares, we find confirmation that seemingly distinct operating system bugs share underlying threat attributes in the text descriptions. Conversely, the lighter green regions confirm that the models set strict contextual boundaries, separating unrelated software threats. BERTopic's modular structure gives engineers hierarchical visibility. They can trace the exact mathematical path from a broad threat category down to a specific software bug. Relying strictly on pure transformer models introduces a risk. They can over-index on broad conversational context and miss strict critical domain terminology. The traditional alternative is the bag of words matrix. This is a rigid statistical approach that ignores context and strictly counts the exact frequencies of individual words. Combined TM is a hybrid architecture designed to force these two competing methods into alignment. It uses a neural network objective function that pulls contextual predictions toward the raw statistical frequency of the text. By reducing the alignment error between the two, it anchors the model in the actual lexicon of the dataset. This document-to-topic heat map displays the results of this hybrid approach. The stark vertical columns indicate a strict correlation between specific documents and their assigned topics. This iterative alignment contrasts with models like Top2Vec, which skip optimization entirely by embedding words and documents into a single shared space from the start. When analyzing highly technical security logs, anchoring contextual AI to raw word counts prevents the model from creating thematic connections between unrelated software architectures. Even with accurate clusters, there is a final hurdle. Mathematical grouping algorithms output coordinates, not human-readable names. This chart shows how standard models attempt to name their topics by simply outputting the highest-scoring raw keywords. For example, It defines a cluster using the terms VMware, ESXi, and vCenter. Another topic yields Red, Hat, Linux, and Enterprise. Handing an analyst a disjointed list of keywords forces them to manually decipher the context, costing time during an active threat analysis. To solve this naming problem, we can deploy a large language model like Llama 2 as an interpretability layer. The mechanism is straightforward. The top keywords generated by the HDBSCAN clustering algorithm are injected directly into a predefined Llama 2 prompt template. The language model reads the keyword list, synthesizes the context, and outputs a clean label, autonomously generating titles like Red Hat Linux Enterprise. A different approach is to use the Mixtral 8x7b model to bypass the mathematical clustering phase entirely. Instead of plotting coordinates, Mixtral uses zero-shot direct prompting on every threat log, extracting 5 precise categorization tags based on natural language comprehension. The trade-off here is computational. Direct extraction provides high precision for individual documents, but it requires significant computational overhead compared to processing data in batches with mathematical clustering. Layering a large language model over traditional clustering translates abstract mathematical groupings into actionable intelligence that a security team can use immediately. We can evaluate the complete macro view of the threat landscape using this UMAP projection scatterplot. On this graph, a successful model produces tight, internally coherent clusters. Each of these dense color groupings represents a specific hardware or software threat category. Across tens of thousands of logs, the models successfully isolated technical themes, such as widespread SSL and TLS encryption vulnerabilities. The density-based clustering also isolated the noise. These scattered floating data points represent irrelevant or unique vulnerability reports, separated from the main threat groups. The results indicate that modular pipelines like BERTopic are effective for creating a deep hierarchical taxonomy of a broad dataset. Hybrid models like Combined TM are suited for technical corpora where strict vocabulary control is required to prevent miscategorization. Pure language model extraction, like Mixtral, is a viable choice when document-level precision is the priority and computational resources are available. These results demonstrate that the traditional difficulties of parsing dense technical text with unsupervised models can be mitigated through layered architectures. By combining manifold learning, advanced density clustering, and precise LLM labeling, we create a robust framework for managing the volume and specificity of cybersecurity data. By automating the categorization of unstructured logs with these pipelines, organizations can shift their resources from deciphering raw text to proactively neutralizing cyber threats.